So they,
Yeah, Richard.
I'll bring you in, save him a few sentences. Last year, when we met, remember you and I came in and him and Karen, or 2 years ago. So then, and part of that was my asking for a meeting to prompt them to try to go do the process of budgeting that a lot of bigger towns do, which is more professional, and I'll get into what that is in a minute. But they had a vote, I guess, Karen and Ben, to do it, but yet they never actually followed through. So that's part of the reason Ben brought us in, was he wanted to go a little bit more in line with that. What that basically is, or the, and again, it's however, the budget committee has no power, okay? And so regular organized towns, and quite frankly, Lebanon is not that, use the budget committee as a tool for the selectmen, or the town manager for that matter. Because actually a lot of them have a budget committee, a town manager, and then the select board. And there's several phases of approval process that it goes through. And so it ultimately starts with the department head. The department head does his budget, which means the department head has to actually know his budget, which unfortunately sometimes in this town that hasn't happened, because it's always been directed by the selectmen. So the department head doesn't really have an idea about all the different lines and everything else. Or they've done in the past, they just raised it, oh, let's just go 10% across the board. Boom. So they've got to do a budget. Once they do a budget, then they go through an approval process. They go to the budget committee. They present it to the budget committee. This is before it even gets to selectmen. And essentially let the budget committee go through line by line in their budget. And the budget committee can actually recommend a budget or not. They can recommend his, they can make some changes. And so essentially we don't have a town manager, so then the next step would be to the selectmen. You can, because you obviously dictate what that budget's gonna be. So you can then choose to use the budget committee's recommendations to go with the department head. You can choose what budget you want to do, but essentially you don't have to do all of the digging into the numbers. Well, explain this, you want X amount. Well, why do you want this amount? Last year you only spent this much. Why do you want so much? You don't have to do all that, because the budget committee already does all that. That's part of what we do. So
One thing though I do think we said was before this process starts, the select board determines the percent of increase.
right, and what I had said before was you can give the department head some guidance on creating their budget, saying that, hey, we're looking for ways to cut this year because of last year, because of this, because of that, or we know that this budget's got to go up, so we need to find other ways where we not go up, or hey, roads, you can go up by 5% this year, but fire and rescue, you can only go up by 1%, or something. You know what I'm saying? You can give some guidance to the department heads on how to do their budgets and what they're looking for, and ultimately they'll shift around the line items to wherever they need fit. But you know what I'm saying? You don't have to dig into them. Let us do the digging. If you want to, that's fine. But we're doing that, and then you guys do that, or you guys do that first, but we do it anyways. And so you basically have double the work that you don't necessarily need to have. So that's, but it's how you guys do it. So it's, when I brought this 2 years ago, it was not trying to take any power away from the selectmen. It was basically saying, use us as a tool, use us as a resource for you. That's why people put down committees. You have a comprehensive plan committee. Why? Because you guys don't have the time to do it. So you make a committee to do it. That's basically what the budget committee does. Let us deal with the budgets.
Right.
So
For whatever reason, wow, getting worse. For whatever reason, when Karen was chair, we went against that vote. So all of a sudden we're all back there. The whole board sitting there, at the time, which is occupying a lot of our time, putting our payroll up higher. And again, micromanaging or whatever, which is kind of ridiculous. So for whatever reason, last year we did the same thing, but a part of it was because, holy mackerel, all of a sudden I'm chair and it's my second year in, so there's a lot to try to grasp. So I think it was part of that was still trying to, not feeling comfortable, you know,
Well,
me with the process.
but it's a control issue. So it's a control issue whether, and it's not a bad thing. I'm a control freak, so it's not a bad thing. You know what I'm saying? But just to give somebody else that control to go through the budgets and then to kind of trust them. You know what I'm saying? You know, it's something, you know, and so what I would recommend is, if rather than just blindly doing that, if you want to be involved, come to the budget committee meeting. So instead of setting up your own meetings,
Right.
if 1 or 2 or 3 of you want to come and you have a selectman meeting that coincides with the budget committee, fine. If only one of you shows up, then it's not a selectmen's meeting.
Well, that's the
You
thing.
can still participate in the discussion. You can still ask questions. You can still make recommendations. You can
questions.
still answer questions. You can.
Well,
I
before
mean,
too, that was part of it because you guys had requested, I mean, you were in, that the selectmen come before I was even in. So that kind of was part of it too.
Well,
because
but
now
the reason we
Jim
asked
did the whole
the reason we asked the selectmen to come is because the department heads can't answer their own questions
Right.
about their departments.
Right, right.
So that's a whole
think-
separate issue.
Yeah.
Is why can't the department heads answer questions regarding their
need to start.
budgets?
Right.
They ought to know their budgets inside and out. They're the department head. That's their job. You know, I mean, that's, you know, they're in charge of spending X amount of dollars. They ought to know their budgets inside and out. I ask what this line item is, they ought to know what that is. No, I don't know, you have to ask the selectman. That's the normal answer. So that's, but that's a whole separate issue. You know what I'm saying? But, you know, that needs to be looked at or dealt with. You know, some department heads are good, some don't. But some others aren't. So.
What do you guys think?
No comment.
Right.
He always says that.
What I said.
That's what I think anyway. Is that we should adhere to what the board had said way back. You know, let you guys do that. Take that off our plate. You know, everybody's wondering why our hours are so high. Well, cripe, we're in here 4 times a week. You know, the whole board's there, which technically we're holding an illegal meeting because it's not a posted. This past year was different. It was a Monday night. But on Wednesdays, we're holding illegal meetings because we're there together doing town business on an unposted selectmen's meeting.
Right.
So that's wrong too.
Well, though if we're gonna do this, how are we gonna deal with the department heads that can't answer these questions? Because that's
They
gonna
need to be
waste
held
everybody's
accountable.
time.
True. Yeah.
How many department heads are there?
I think right now you got a lot of different department heads though. You know, as far as you got new fire chief, you got new EMA director, which is your fire chief. They better know their stuff. You know, there's a lot of different people. You got new code enforcement, which you're gonna have to give some learning curve to. But you got different personalities in there. I think you're gonna see some difference.
I mean, I think the thing is I think the budget committee would be fine as long as they took responsibility and accountability for it. So they may not know the answer, which is fine.
Just find it.
But hey, I'm sorry, I don't know the answer, but I'll find out for you and I'll let you know next meeting. Whereas
Yeah.
in the past it's been, I don't know,
Well,
that's
it's
just
gonna
looking.
take more communication between.
Right.
If I'm chair, you're chair. You can take a lot more communication that way too, if we're not there, or if
Right.
whatever.
Yeah,
the
'cause
thing
I mean,
we're
the
looking at.
biggest reason we've asked the selectmen to be there is this state, because there's a lot of questions that, you know, and there's a lot
I'll
of.
get up and leave and go dig through, and I'll find you the answer.
Right.
So, the other thing we're looking at doing is fast forwarding, possibly, it's not finalized, but trying to coincide the town vote with the school vote, which means we can move everything forward
Yeah.
a month anyway,
You can't do the school later?
because you're hooked in with other towns.
So schools dictated.
Schools are doing what we, yeah.
Okay.
But then we're still gonna have a June election because it's gonna be state items. We'd still have to have an election in June.
That I don't know. We're still looking into some of it. I don't know for sure. Mandy's checking on some stuff.
It was a week
would you
apart.
get- If you still have a, so my question is, if you still have a June election,
I don't know that we will, but
but
yeah, we're going
if
to
because
consensus.
there's state referendum items or whatever that
Sure.
happened, do you know what I'm saying, in June, then why doesn't the MSAD 60 move their vote
Yeah.
to June?
Yeah,
Because that's the other angle, you know what I'm saying? I mean, because I wholeheartedly agree.
yeah. I didn't think about this.
They ought to be combined because you get such a low turnout in schools.
That's wasted.
Well, that's the benefit.
Every time you have an election.
That's the benefit to it, is that there is a low turnout, so people aren't.
But I wouldn't
you know.
be surprised if the school needs it earlier than that, just because if one of the towns doesn't pass it, you know, the schools June 30th, they are done with that fiscal year, and
Yeah, you better have
if
something.
that only gives them 3 weeks if something
Yeah.
that's one town or doesn't pass it and they have to revote.
Yeah.
But I'm sure you can talk to Mr. Conley
I figure this way
about
that
that.
we don't know where we're going to end up on that. But even if we all started a little bit earlier, so what? You know, we get them done earlier, and maybe we can't do it come spring or whatever. We should know before that, obviously, but you know, maybe we can't do it, so whatever. We're just starting a month earlier, and we know.
Well, I mean,
maybe you start December 1st instead of
I
June.
mean, certainly there's a lot of easy ones that could be thrown in early
Yeah.
because they're pretty simple and you can get them out of the way.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
They're always pretty close to the same. There's not much change. There's, you know.
And we don't have to be in April trying to.
well, but in
Get done.
defense of the budget committee, we were ready. And we had to wait
Yeah.
2 or 3
Yeah,
weeks
sure.
to get budgets.
Sure.
So, I mean, I don't think it was us not starting early. I think it was either department heads meeting with you or something that didn't start early
Right.
enough.
Right. Well, I'm just saying, before, when people start coming to you, it may not be January 5th or whatever. It might be December 5th, you know, to get
Well,
this,
good luck
to
with
get
that.
this going. Is what I'm saying.
December will pretty much not be a good time, but, I mean, I don't have any problem starting the beginning of January, which is usually the beginning of February.
Yeah.
We start January.
Well,
It's right after New Year's. The last 2
we didn't
years.
actually have a meeting, though, on any budgets till the end of January.
Oh, really? Sure.
Yeah, I don't think December works just because you have the holiday season, you have Thanksgiving, you have Christmas, you have, I think that I'd rather if we got crunch time and we gotta fit an extra one in during the week, I think that's more
Rather do
plausible.
that.
I think that's more plausible than trying to get stuff and getting a quorum.
Yeah.
I mean, again, getting a quorum, you know, during the holiday season is gonna be hard enough. So I think you're better off waiting until after the new year.
Which is fine too. It just means we'd have to meet with people sooner.
And the other thing,
Something
the other thing
budget.
is for some budgets, that way also, the other thing is also some budgets you have 6 months worth of expenses. So it's also easier to extrapolate out
Yeah.
what a full year's expenses might be.
Yeah. Yeah.
So if you start
We know this first year is going to be the hump. That's going to be the part to get over. You know, if we can make this change as a town, this first year is going to be problems in it.
Yeah, no, I mean,
Back
it's
on
just,
the cycle.
it's a, you know, I mean, part of it is, I think sometimes is part of it can be a makeup of the budget committee. Depends on, I mean, I've been on a lot of in the past, and you have too, there's different agendas. People on the budget committee for different reasons, and so if that gets into the way of doing the right thing,
Yep.
that's when control then goes back to the selectmen. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
And I don't blame the selectmen for pulling control back out. So it's not, you know what I'm saying? I think you have to have a,
Yeah.
you know, and everybody may have their own feelings, and that's fine. I mean, you have a bunch of different eyes.
Yeah.
You know, I mean,
Most of them. Yeah.
I mean, Chris Kilpatrick is great at digging. He may not always be right, but he's great at digging, and he can make you think and make you look at something differently. So I mean, again, it's not, you know,
Oh,
you
from
don't have
our
to agree with
end.
him or disagree with him. It's just,
From
you know,
our end, I sit here, we go line by line by line, I look at every expense, you know, when they come in here and meet with us, and then I turn around and do the same thing again with you guys.
Right.
And it's like redundant, very redundant for us.
Yeah.
Which, you know, we got assessing we should be doing. There's a lot more things that are falling between the cracks that we're not doing, should have done.
Yeah, I mean, the only thing I would say is that our process on the budget committee doesn't really change.
Right. Okay.
Whether you want to use it or not, we're still going to do it because we're voting.
Yeah.
The way I look at it, we are voting for the people,
Yeah.
and we have to understand the budget in order to make our vote for the town.
Yeah.
And we're going to go line by line by line, whether you guys do it,
100%.
you know what I'm saying? or
Well,
not.
I'm not saying you're not.
we usually discuss that in the first meeting, and we say, what process are we gonna use?
Right,
And I
right.
mean, so it's not just you and I making the
No,
decision.
no, no, what I'm
It's the committee that makes that decision. on how
Well,
we wanna do it.
no, it's them that make this.
Well, I mean, on how we make the decision on how the budget committee is
Right.
going to
Review it.
function, or whatever.
Yeah. Any comments?
Paul's been on many of those budget committee meetings. You've been at many of those budget
I
committee
never
meetings.
missed any.
Good.
Well, anyway, that's what we wanted to talk to. I could do the Godfather impression. My voice is getting bad enough. Just wanted to bring you guys in anyway, because
Yeah, I mean, I think it's.
Because
the
probably,
secretary and chair, so you're two officers.
we usually, meet towards the end of October, beginning of November to elect whoever's gonna be.
Right. You figure out when meetings will be and that kind of stuff.
So if by the end of October, beginning of November, you guys can get it nailed down as to what you want and the school vote and all that kind of stuff, that would help us.
Yeah, I gotta check with me.
Well, yeah, because we may have a November referendum.
Yeah.
If it's money that we have to
Oh,
move
really?
for. I'm just saying, well, you never know.
Yeah, right.
That's one of the reasons why we do it in October before
Right.
that, so that way in case we have to have a meeting, we have everybody there, I think that's what happened last year, didn't we have something?
Yeah, we
in
had,
November?
yeah, we did. I don't remember.
I don't know
which
if we
ones,
are,
but did.
I don't know if we are this year.
No, it's a good point, because we were talking about maybe getting some bids on removing this wall and making this one big office, so there's a meeting room.
It's a code enforcement.
Yeah.
Yep.
And that would become, out of contingency type of thing. So throw it back to the voters to say, do you want to spend that out of contingency? Budget committee would have to vote on that.
Because if you had one more person in here, we'd all have to move out there. There's just enough in here now.
I can have 9.53. That's
I'll
like,
take my leg out.
what's that, 5 months pregnant?
Yeah.
Oh, boy.
That's all I got. I was just curious.
Yeah, I mean, ultimately it's,
I think last year's process had some glitches, but overall it was pretty smooth.
no, I think last year, I think it was well, you know what I'm saying? I
Yeah.
mean, other than the fact that you probably did a lot of work yourself.
Yep.
Do you know what I'm saying, that you probably didn't need to do, but,
Oh.
you know.
Yeah.
I mean, some of you did.
Yeah.
You know, but that's, you know.
Yep. All trying to do the same thing. What's best for the townspeople,
Right. Yep.
Okay.
Good.
Got it?
Yeah.
I'm good. Thank you very much.
Thanks, guys.
Bye.
Okay. Was this outside too? or
No, that
was
was
it-
in here.
Okay.
I don't know how many more people Tracy Place has got coming. Did you have some show up the other night?
No.
One,
One,
after the fact, yeah.
that's the one that came up my house. I told him, come in front of the board, not Lone Ranger thing.
It's on the agenda now.
6:30.
6:30.
I don't know why they're so far apart.
I don't know either. Might have been a time request from them.